If this is your first time watching my videos, welcome to Conversations on the Heart. I think it is safe to say that every person has a dream. We all want to accomplish something important in our lives, but the question is, are you willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish it? Because if you don't, most likely they will remain just dreams. Last week, I shared a story of determination, the story of the paper cup airplane, and how despite numerous obstacles that would have deterred many, they succeeded. If you did not have a chance to watch it, I'm gonna link it at the end of this video. But today, I also wanted to talk to you about determination, resilience, and passion, but in a more personal way by sharing with you a story of my very own. You see, determination, believed in one's dream, believed in one's ability is essential if you hope to accomplish anything in life. And sometimes that will have you think out of the box. You may have to go against the status quo and defy conventional thinking. You have to believe so heartedly in your abilities and in your dream that no obstacle can derail you. It will be that determination that would provide you the unyielding willpower to push forward when obstacles seem insurmountable. That was the case for two kids right out of university, with the dream to take conventional higher education and make that available online to people all over the world from the convenience of their home. I'm taking you to a period between 1994 and 1995 when there was no smartphones, no Google, no YouTube, a time where the only World Wide Web that people knew were spider webs in their homes. So I guess you could say we were way ahead of our time. As I said, it was 1995. Jeffrey and I had just graduated from our master's, and we had this dream, this idea that everyone said was crazy. Nonetheless, we decided to create our first company that we named it Embanet. And the concept was to help MBA business programs to use technology and deliver the programs online so that they could access international students that could not otherwise attend American schools. It so happened that Queen's University's executive MBA program here in Canada had begun using technology, more specifically video conferencing, to augment the classroom experience. So when they saw a presentation that we did, they were pretty intrigued and open-minded to use Embanet to deliver their program and access companies' executives outside the province. So they agreed to do a pilot, and we were ecstatic. It was a pivotal moment in our company's history after a year of trying and having nothing to show. But they told us that as a formality, before the contract can get signed, they must come to visit our facilities. They need a tour of our office. They need to see our staff. Holy blankety blank. This is where the plot thickens, because up until this point, Embanet seemed to be a well-established, sizable company to the outside world, but our office headquarters was still situated in the attic of Jeffrey's parents' home. Jeffrey, how is the following Thursday to come and see your offices? Asked, let's call him Ron, one of the program directors. Now, what Ron didn't know is that at that moment, Jeffrey and I were in Israel on a family trip. Thank God that in the early 1990s, there was no caller ID, otherwise the gig will be up. Jeffrey and I have always believed that in order to succeed, you have to act as if. So we portrayed our company as already successful, already established. The only problem was that our outer world needed time to catch up with our inner world. Now, had Queens known that we didn't even have offices, it would have been a non-starter. Ron and his team were already nervous doing business with 2 kids right out of university from a company they had never heard from. So you can appreciate what a big deal this was. Thinking quickly on his speech, Jeff said, "Ron, I would love to meet you and your team, but it so happens that in the next 2 weeks we have some business troubles. How about we meet the 3rd week on the Friday?" Thank God Ron agreed, because we had bought ourselves some precious time to perform a magic trick and pull a rabbit out of a hat, or more like a miracle. I mean, the challenge seemed insurmountable. How were we going to find an office space, the furniture, the staff, all within 15 days? I mean, I was so panicky that I could hear my heart beating so fast. But it was that can-do attitude that helped us. Jeffrey's father, Phil, had a pharmacy in the basement in a doctor's office building. Jeffrey had worked in the pharmacy through high school and university, so he was well familiar with the building and knew that a handful of doctors' offices were empty for years. So Phil asked a favor from his board members, explaining to them the circumstances and the urgency by which we needed the space. So picture this, a table full of busy doctors being asked if a tech company can come and rent one of their offices. But you never know unless you ask. As a favor to Phil, the board agreed to rent us one of the offices for $500 a month with a 30-day notice period. We took what we could. We were grateful. Beggars can be choosers, as the saying goes, and we took a huge risk because, they could have told us that in 30 days we had to vacate our new world headquarters. But at the same time, we also knew that those offices had been empty for years and most likely will continue to remain empty. Okay, so office space checked. Now what do we do to find furniture that quick? As it turns out, Jeff's uncle Saul had a big office furniture company. Thank God for family. So Jeffrey speaks to his uncle and asks if we could come to the showroom to, buy a few pieces. He knew that sometimes you can get those pieces at a discounted price. Fortunately for us, Uncle Saul generously donated to us all the furniture that we needed. So talk about the universe conspiring to help us make the dream happen. And this was a massive lesson for me, and I hope it is for you. When you decide to do something and that something is aligned with your life's purpose, the universe has a way of accommodating things to enable your dream. This was a massive win for us, especially at a time where money was, it was scarce. We didn't have all the funds that other companies had. So now we have solved 2 major issues. Office checked, furniture checked. But before the furniture could arrive, we had to fix the inside of the office. We had to remove some walls. We had to patch holes. I don't know why there were so many holes on the walls, and it desperately needed a paint job because it was in the light blue color of hospitals. So with less than 15 days to go, we began to patch holes, and through a friend of a friend, we speak to a professional painter who agrees to give us a friends and family discount by paying cash and having him work after hours. And the painter promised that he would have everything completed before the client's arrival. Now the next hurdle was, what do we do for phone systems? And because we lacked the funds, it forced us to be creative, to think out of the box. And I have to keep reminding you that this is early 1990s and inexpensive voice over IP systems didn't exist. But it was that can-do attitude that forced us to look for inexpensive solutions. So we hire a technician who ran a wire after hours through the elevator shaft that went from the Embanet's 3rd floor office into the pharmacy in the basement, and we hooked up to their telephone system. So in essence, Embanet became an extension of the pharmacy's expensive system. So for the cost of a wire and some secondhand phone equipment, Embanet now has state-of-the-art phones. But innovations are never without glitches. And it so happened that every so often when our clients would call, the pharmacy will pick up. And it was funny because I guess the clients must have thought that they misdialed. They never made any connection. And it was hilarious because we could not figure out how the glitch was happening, and thank God it didn't happen too often. So now we are 2 days away from the big client's visit. Okay, so now we had the office checked, furniture checked, we had fixed all the walls checked, we had our telephone system checked, but we had one critical element that we still needed to solve, and that's the employees. The office was a ghost town, with Jeffrey and myself being the only ones there. The phones didn't ring because we had no clients, and it didn't make sense for us to hire employees because we had no revenue. So once again, we had to turn to innovative and resilient thinking and came up with a plan. As I think back about everything that happened and in me relating the story, I'm in awe of how many tiny miracles have to work perfectly. So we turned to family once again to pitch in, and Jeffrey asked his mother, Rochelle, to come and be the receptionist. Phil agreed to lend us 2 of his delivery drivers to come and be our technical support staff. We also had people from the pharmacy come in and out of our offices while the client was there so that they would see that we were, busy and we were a dynamic company. But the best part of this show business was that the pharmacy was to call our offices every 10 minutes, making our phones, ring all the time. So, this was our way of appearing to, that we were busy and we had a lot of students calling for technical support. Now, everything on paper looked terrific. All we now had to do was hope and pray that we could execute that plan. The day came and the client was expected to arrive at 11 a.m. So Jeffrey and I got to the office at 8 a.m. to ensure that everything was as planned, but we had a problem. The painter was still painting, so the walls were still drying when the customers arrived, and we were just hoping and praying that they wouldn't touch the walls. The receptionist, aka mother-in-law Rochelle, took the clients to the boardroom, which at one point was a doctor's supply room. Everything was going fine. The phones were ringing in regular intervals. The pharmacy staff was weaving themselves in and out of the office, making it look like we were busy and dynamic. And then it happened. The client called one of the pharmacy employees and started asking them some questions about the company and how much they'd like to work there. And our hearts just sank. We thought, okay, it's over. But thankfully, the person managed the situation beautifully. After that, everything went as planned. The client left feeling very happy. They commended us on our employees, on our space, our professionalism, and that they couldn't wait to do business with us. Once we catched our breath and picked ourselves from the floor, we celebrated. Embanet had its first paying client. This story epitomizes the resilience and the unwavering determination to do what it takes to build a dream. Now, some may critique this tale. To me, it's a testament of the lengths that one must go through in order to make the dream. It wasn't a lie. It was having the courage to seize that opportunity. So if you have a dream, you must be willing to walk through unconventional paths and to believe in yourself, because often what is needed to succeed is the audacity to try and the faith to know that your dream is possible. We could do the job. We could deliver on every count, and all we needed was a break. It so happens sometimes in life that people only want to do business with already established companies. And all we needed was that break. All we needed was one client to believe in us so that we could show the world what we were made of. I believe that everyone needs that single opportunity to prove their worth. And it was that resilience that allows us to earn the client's confidence. And as they say, the rest is history. Our little company went to become one of the most innovative and profitable e-learning companies in our space, touching the lives of over 1 million enrollments worldwide. Should you ever find yourself in one of those moments in life like I did, I think you know what I would tell you. I would say, do whatever you need to do to get your dream. But at the same time, having a dream is not enough. You have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that your dream is possible and have the courage to try it. And then when you couple that with innovative thinking, determination, and a touch of resilience, you got yourself a magic potion that will turn any adversity into opportunity. Thank you again for your continued support. I hope you've enjoyed this story, and I will see you on the next episode.